3, 2, 1, go!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Mount Schmoedown. I am your host, Ben. A good panel we have today. We have, sadly, Sean is missing, but we have a fun panel with us with Ryan, Ellison, and a special guest, Chance. Ellison, how is everyone doing today?
Good. I'm so excited. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, my feelings and thoughts mirror the same as Allison's as well. Definitely looking forward to getting into this. Well, I won't admit all of our episodes have been a lot of all of our episodes have been a lot of fun, but this, all I'm gonna say is that, man, never have I been more excited to rewatch old Schmoedown matches. I will say. I'm not gonna lie. Like I took like point for point notes, but because it was chicken scratch writing, I just did as best I can to transcribe on my laptop.
I could see Ryan like up late at night, just in the dark with like the blanket over his head, just scribbling down notes as he rewatches all of these matches.
Oh, you're not wrong. Ben knows from the past earlier episodes. I had at least half a notebook of matches written down, categories, points, statistics, points per earned. I had to draw back on that a little bit, but the knowledge is still I can still do it.
For sure. Well, yeah, no, it's a super exciting show. We have two-time teams champion, and as a good friend, Egg Lord Nikki wanted me to make sure I pointed out the reigning Pixar and Animation Exhibition champion, Mr. the Cobra, Chance Ellison. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Chance.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great. First off, I need to go ahead, since Mr. Jake Yakavetta is in this chat, and needed to throw this question your way real quick. How many watermelon smashes did it take for you to actually snuggle next to him in a bed in Orlando?
We ran out that weekend. That's how many it took. We cleared out a liquor store. However many they had, we ran out. That's how many it took.
Oh, that was for you, Jake. You know, God love him. Yeah, no, that was awesome. How is the watermelon smash? I feel like this has become a big thing that I feel like I need to either never experience or almost experience one time.
So let me explain. So a bunch of us got together in Orlando the weekend before the New York event. Mainly me and the crew of the show, which is the Deacons, AJ Lancaster, Juice, and Yakavetta came down too, and Quit Show. Jake, not Jake, I'm sorry. AJ goes down to a liquor store. Yes, hey, I need some Jack Daniels. They were out. I don't know how that happens at a liquor store, but they were out of Jack Daniels. And like, I don't know how this happened. I'm assuming the conversation was something like, right, Jack Daniels, but bruh, I got something even better. And he walks out with a case of watermelon smash, which is nothing like whiskey. It's like this watermelon. It wasn't even vodka. I don't remember what it was.
Kind of like a rum.
We're just like, maybe? What? Like, how do you walk away with this?
From Jack Daniels? Like, how does that?
I normally you can't find Jack Daniels. You get like Jim Beam. You get Wild Turkey.
I'll take the Jameson if
you get Jameson. I don't know how you. I don't know how you end up like you got fleeced, dude. Like,
yeah, that's the kind of drink you come across at a swap meet. That's the kind of drink you would come across at a swap meet. Someone's like, I personally brewed this myself. Like, really? Because I don't.
I'm mad at that employee for ordering it.
It might have been because I can't find that anywhere else. I've never seen it anywhere since. I can't find it online. So
the guy just made it himself in his garage. It's fine.
Good? Did it taste good?
It's fine. It was fine. Like I definitely had worse, but it was fine. I'll never buy it on my own accord, but it was fine.
I mean, that's too funny. Well, anyway, we'll kind of getting into all of this. You know, we're here at Mount Schmoedown. We discuss careers, highlights, ask questions. You know, hang out for entire careers. So we were just talking before we had you with us in the waiting room before starting it. Looking at all of your matches from when you premiered in singles and in teams back in like 2018 to where you are now. One of the comments I made was when you started in singles, you did not have an easier run. Like you came in and like they threw it. Like your first match is against Ethan Irwin as like a singles player as a rookie. Like that's wild when you look at like kind of how rookies in this last season have been kind of treated with the different matches that they get.
Yeah, I can't remember. I got text when I found I was in the tournament to begin with, and it was a whole like, okay, we're gonna do a mini bracket, and we're gonna do one person's gonna go straight into the tournament. And I got a text from Christian, and just like, okay, good news. I got bad news. Good news is you're right in the tournaments. Bad news, you got Ethan first round. I'm like, fine, let's do it. And I'd been watching Ethan, like it was both our rookie seasons. I knew that he was good. I was actually, the first time I went to the studio, I was there for one of his matches. So I'm like, yeah, he's good, but I felt like I could take him. Like I wasn't gonna back down. I wasn't gonna tell him I don't want to do that. So yeah, I decided, let's do it. If I win, it's amazing. If I lose, whatever. But I felt like I had a good chance against him.
But watching that match, though, you did pull up, like, you really came close to point out, probably, at least at that time, a big upset over Ethan, because he was fresh off of a number one contenders match against Sid Draco for the championship, and then he's thrown right in the tournament, so it was clear he did look like to be one of the heavy odd favorites going in. So if you had, and unfortunately, when it came, I don't know why it was the start of the unluckiness of the 5-pointers. It just felt to me like, okay, 5-pointer, that's perfectly fine. It was a legit 5-point question. And yeah, if you had nailed that, biggest upset of the season, and we would have definitely seen a whole, like, Ethan would have not moved on, become champion. We would have seen you go up against, I forgot who played up next, but it would have been a whole new different bracket tournament, because you also had like a great debut in teams with Mike, part of Corruption. Like, I'll say out of most of the rookies comparing, there was a lot of fanfare on your first debut, especially for the Anarchy tournament, when you were like that name picked out of the hat.
Yeah, I think that just came with the fact of being just someone who's just literally plucked out of obscurity, and someone who is coming up from bringing up a family competitor for the first time, which is something that they had been looking at and they never done it. And then they met me and they're just like, yeah, we'll give you a shot. And it was something that I did once. I was in high school when I started watching it. I was like, man, I could do that. Then I got like, okay, you want to compete? I'm like, shit, I'm good on this, aren't I? Okay, fine, let's do it.
Yeah, then not even giving you a shot, but you're up there with Mike Kalinowski. Like that's crazy.
It was definitely not only being a rookie, not only being the youngest competitor by like a mile, but being at the heart of like the biggest story going on at the time. It was a lot. Like I wasn't getting like, to like dip a toe and just try it. No, I was getting like thrown right into the deep end, sink or swim, kid.
Yeah, getting met with chance of overrated. Like as soon as you walk out, I would have cried, but that's just me.
Yeah, that first match, you missed one question. Just seeing everybody just go, oh! I'm like, guys, calm down, Jesus.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean that was just with all like all the fanfare, all the build up just to get me to that point. From there on, it was on me. So I knew like from then I'm like, okay, like it's gonna be on my, it's gonna be my knowledge. It's not gonna be on my. I don't have anything to back me up. It's just me up there. I have to prove it, and I had to prove that I can hang with the big dogs. And yeah, I mean, like it was a rocky first match for us. On the whole, it was a rocky first match for both of us. But I think that when it comes to team, like that was our first time working together. So when it comes to teams, like the chemistry is just a massively important part of it. So I think that, and you see that when we, like, as we continue working and as we continue playing, we get better. So I think that it was a good, it was a good, learning step, like feeling each other out. And then, yeah, like I think it was a great way for us to start off.
Absolutely. And then,
the overrated chance, I 100% saw it coming. And like, it had been a while since I had like a chance for me for anything. Cause I used to play varsity sports when I was in high school. And like, it was a really fun feeling to have that back for me.
Oh, I bet. That's so cool. I like Mike Deacon in here. When in doubt, the answer is Paul Giamatti. So if anyone ever needs to know. Speaking of Mike Deacon, another story I was told I needed to bring up by good old Jake Yacovetto was you were in Orlando right when COVID shut everything down.
I was.
Right?
So yeah. So looking back, I know we're going from the beginning down, but like skipping ahead a little bit. It was the match where I played. It was a match where Mike and I played the family. There was question of what was going to happen. I had this trip already planned out for my spring break, but I was able to switch my flight to fly out of Burbank. So I went into LA, played that match, and literally left straight from the studio right to the airport to fly to Orlando. And that was around the time where like COVID was just happening. It was just like it's like this small thing. It was like, okay, well, maybe we'd be concerned about that. Then I left to Orlando, and as I was there, I was there for a week. As I was there, things were just getting progressively worse. Oh. So I was like, shit, if this doesn't time right, I could be stuck here for a while. So I'm like, hey, Mike, can I just like, if I'm stuck here for a couple months, can I just crash on the couch, please? But yeah, so it ended up working out to where I was at the parks literally the day before they shut down.
Yeah. And
it was really not good. I just felt like really lucky at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was going to be the last person at any Disney World park for the foreseeable future because we didn't know how long it was going to last. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was really. I know it was my first time since I was like 2 years old. So I'm like, hey, you know what? This might be getting shut down, but I got my fun, so I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah, and then it was finally with having to go home. You spent a good chunk of time on a little road trip with Mr. Deacon, I hear, as well, to get you back to Arizona.
He didn't drive me back. Now, luckily, I was able to get on the plane. My flight wasn't canceled. I wasn't stuck there for weeks on end.
Good.
Yeah, that was the good news.
Yeah. It sounds like we flip-flopped our trips because we went out to California to visit my in-laws who live in like the Palm Springs area about a week before everything shut down. So we were like part of like the last crew to go to Disney World that like whole first week of March. And then as soon as we came back, everything was closing here in Orlando. Wow. So we literally just like flip-flopped the trips on each other.
My sister told me the same thing. Like we came back from like 2 days, like a month in before everything happened. She had made plans to go to California Adventure, Disneyland. She had a hotel booked, and just right a couple days before she goes out, she's hearing reports that Disneyland may be closed for a while, and then she cancels. She canceled at first, and that's when all of a sudden the whole news spreads out, and I just say, shit, it could have been worse. You could have been in Disneyland when that happened, and you would have been stuck there all day. I mean, not bad for her, but a closed Disneyland park compared to being like stuck in a hotel.
Do you guys remember what movie was the last movie you saw in the theater before it shut down?
I do, which is why I had to go see one right away. The last movie we saw was in theaters was Birds of Prey.
Me too.
Mine was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mine would have been Onward.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's at least a good one.
Didn't see in the theaters. I mean, of course, watching it late during the whole shutdown, but I'm like, that movie did feel like a theater movie, honestly.
It sure did. So, getting back into your career with everything, and just kind of looking. So your first match, you come out against Inky and the Brain, and then you guys go straight up against Founding Fathers, right? So you go from having overrated chance to like now everyone's kind of silent, like they're trying to get there, but it's like, do you think like that sudden death win really is what helped maybe solidify things and people started really taking you seriously after that?
I think it really did because Inky and the Brain, some disrespect to those two people, but they're on paper they're a pushover team. Mm-hmm. So like this felt like our first real test as a team. Like, can we take out two of the greatest to ever do it? And like when I saw the bracket, I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's going to come down to like Inky and the Brain. I was kind of writing them off, which was my mistake at the time. I was writing them off. I was looking straight at Dan and Roka. I'm just like, okay, if I want to really turn, if I want to really just like say like, hey, you know what, I'm here. I can compete. I can do this. We need to win this game. And so. Yeah, like as match was going, like it was all my second match, but this is like one of the that I've ever been a part of. where it was just back and forth, like consistent ties, and just no one giving an inch of leeway to anybody. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And then sudden death happens, and I just wow, yeah, sudden death happens.
Yeah, sudden death happens. But beyond that, I mean, looking at all 4 of the matches that you, Mike, Dan, and Broca have had, each one of them, I will say, are nail biters, honestly, regardless of performances wise. Because if you were just looking at how the matches are going and how the tide is able to turn every single time, I mean, especially the second time you guys play up against them to determine who's going to play the Shire Wolves, that match, even though it looked like the cards were more favored with you and Mike, but even then, it was always that little holding your breath. It's not over until that last question drops. And then you play them at the live event to where it came down to where it looked like it was going to be a humiliating loss, but you proved yourselves as a team by making them. You pushed them to earn that win. And then you guys, once again, you come back the 4th time in that digital match and you win the championships. Like, it proves that you and Mike really have grown very well as a team, just working amongst each other. Like, you know something you like, you stick with it, and it always works out.
Yeah, I think that what we've proven is that we don't go down easy. We may go down time to time. We don't go down easy. And when it came to the Orlando match, or like even something like the first time we played Shazam, where it looks like the match is gonna get ugly for us very quick. Like we stay in it because we don't know. Like we always told, like, it doesn't matter what happened. Like it doesn't matter what happens before. It doesn't matter what's happening going forward, and you never know what they're gonna get asked. Like there's a chance they could whip every one of the questions. Unlikely, but there's a chance. So you don't give up. Keep going. And yeah, pushing Dan and Roka to at least answer a question. That was a good point of reference because we didn't want to go in there and get TKO'd for our belts. So yeah, no, we were happy that we could at least like push him to answer something.
And I think that's actually a good sign of you and Mike as a team. I mean, sure, you guys may have lost matches, but you've never suffered the losses like Roka has had on teams to where it was like by knockout or by TKO. I mean, you've always shown that you're like the team to where your opponents have to prove themselves against you guys. And that's one thing I definitely liked with most recently the match you played against Shazam, going into the sudden death for that 51-50. Proving once again that you and Mike, like I've already said this, but you and Mike have definitely proved that you guys should never be overlooked. You shouldn't be like no one should ever look past you two when it comes to playing, because that, like, once again, you saw Shazam misses that question, you're in sudden death, and look what happened there. All it took was just one quick question. We would have seen new champions, and like before with your match against Ethan Irwin, a whole different trajectory would have been changed throughout the Schmoedown. And I like seeing those matches where you realize, like, what if that happened? So then it makes it more enjoyable to rewatch it again and again.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that it's interesting to go into, like, what if we did like one thing, but we try to play without that in mind. We try to play. We always try to leave everything out on the field when we play, and yeah, it does suck when there's something that you could have, that when you make a mistake and it was a mistake at the time, and it ends up costing you in the end. But I think that when we lose the way we did, like Shazam especially, if Mike had done one thing correctly, if we got multiple choice in that one question, if we win the match outright, I think that it's interesting to look at, but I think that also it motivates us to keep going. It motivates us, like, hey, we hung with Shazam, arguably the greatest team of all time. We put up 50 points in a loss. Like we can come back, we can beat them. Like,
absolutely.
Like, we're not scared of that team.
Oh, as you shouldn't be. Ryan in the chat has a question for you. He wants to know, do you prefer playing singles and teams or IG?
I like both for different reasons. I think that IG has given me an interesting new experience with the game that I've really enjoyed. I really liked going and deep diving into all these lores and all these minutiae of these movies that I'd seen like once or maybe not at all. And that's been really interesting, and that's been a really fun exercise. But if I had to pick one area, I would pick singles and teams. That I feel is my bigger forte, and that's the thing that I came to this league to do. And that's what I enjoy more, although I do like doing IG a lot.
So would you say that by competing in IG that it's helped make you a better competitor because of having to do those deep dives?
I think it does, because it also varies me as a competitor as far as like what I'm good at. Yeah, it gives me variances. Like you don't know what I'm going to play against. It could play 2 single slices, it could play 2 IG slices, it could play 1-1. You don't know with me, and that's an attribute that I like about myself as a competitor, is that I try to be very versatile, and I try to keep my opponent on their toes, and I try to, I like competing a lot because I think it makes me. I think constantly staying in the rotation, staying in that game mode, it doesn't give me a chance to. It doesn't really give me a chance to breathe. But in that, I don't get a chance to relax, take a few months off, and lose my momentum, because I'm always in it. So, and I think in the end, that's why I'm playing at a higher level than some competitors, because I'm never stopping. It's just a perpetual competing machine for me.
Well, it's like you say that too, and you fast forward to your match against Snyder to get to the number 1 contenders match for the to play against
to
go against Marisol, and you put Wizarding Wheel on the Wizarding World on the wheel, and so Snyder, because you spin opponent's choice, has so many things to choose from, but because he's too scared to get Wizarding World himself, he's like, well, I'll just give it to him. You had to sit back and be like, what a dodo. I'll take it, but come on, dummy. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I like playing off fears competitors. And with Snyder, I'm like, oh, I play Snyder, guy who consistently bags and IGs being inferior league. I'm like, yeah, no, this is easy. I know what I'm doing. So I basically just played him against himself, and in the end, that's what cost him.
That has to be such a cool feeling, knowing you're so much in someone's head that they'll actually give you your wheel slice just so you can end up kicking their ass.
Speaking of that little, not just with the blunt with Snyder, but one thing I did notice, really rewatching old matches, you are definitely one of the rare competitors that's really part of a lot of historic moments in the Schmoedown. Not just being part of the Anarchy tournament, but also you and Mike getting the opportunity, earning that opportunity to play against the Shirewolves for that last match. Just rewatching, I forgot how emotional that was going in, especially just before we saw almost an ebb and flow with your match against Founding Fathers in Miami. It looked like you guys were almost behind, but then you come back in that speed round to really push it back forward to where it was a close game, and especially seeing how it came so close to where the Shirewolves looked like they were going to retain, and then you guys get that, and then you guys push them to their 5-pointer, and they missed to win the championship. Just seeing how emotional it was. I mean, you winning your first championship, Mike winning an opportunity, you guys just sharing a moment with the Shirewolves themselves. It's really a favorite teams match I like to go and rewatch on my downtime, honestly, because of just how good it is.
Yeah, I think that when it was exciting, my opportunity for first title, getting a shot at a team that great. In Rachel and Clark, I think that was not only did I get a chance to win it, I was getting a chance to earn against one of the greatest teams of all time. So I was really excited, and Mike was really excited because he has a little history with Rachel. Clark's beat him a couple times. I'm like, okay, this is your you get to finish with some redemption. Did I feel a little bad sending them off into the sunset with a loss? I did, a second. But then I got the belt, and didn't feel bad anymore.
It's wait, this is mine now. It's
yeah. If it was anybody else, I feel really sad. This is me. I'm just you know what? Yeah. No, I think that. Yeah, and I think Rachel and Clark are they're both fantastic. They're a fantastic team, and it was nice to get to mix it up with them for at least once before they retired.
So I have a question. Being with Mike, how does it feel to be on one of the largest teams the Schmoedown has had in quite a while. You guys have been together for a long time.
It feels like we're like a dynasty at this point, because I don't know if we're the longest running team of all time, or we're getting there. But I think
Anarchy. I think you're the only Anarchy team that has remained together since that tournament. So
yeah, and
I mean,
the
so it's
reason
been about
is
you're on.
Sorry,
I think you're on your second season together. Like Anarchy was season 7, so you
no,
just finished.
Anarchy was I think season 5. Actually.
5.
Yeah.
Oh no, so it's been even longer.
5.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
nothing. I am so new. I know nothing. Don't listen to anything I say. So
That's perfectly fine. It is perfectly fine, Ellison.
Yeah. So, I think that with Mike and I think that us being working as closely together as we have, I think that's what, because the reason we haven't split up is because we keep winning, and we keep winning because we keep getting better, and the reason is because we've been staying so long together. We're constantly talking, we're constantly strategizing, we're constantly like trying to add to our repertoire of what we're good at, and I think because we've built like this kind of dynasty between the two of us, that's why we're going to be known as one of the greatest teams of all time. Because we had, like, a lot of teams don't have that kind of longevity. Like, very few teams will have lasted as long as we have. Like, maybe I don't know if any team lasts as long as we have. Because we'll put together like 4 seasons at this point. If we're still in the team next year, 5. So I think it's crazy to think that I've been working with this guy, but for this long. But I've really enjoyed working with Mike, and I wouldn't have traded our time for anything.
I mean, and it's been fun to watch as how the game itself has evolved, right? How, like, with the question writing, with everything that's going on, how being able to watch a team that's been together for that long evolve with it. Because a lot of times you would think, your Rokas or who just kind of sit there and just let it happen and then complain about it, or like you're sure, but it's true. Like it's going to evolve. Like, look, I told you, this is where I make my heel turn today, guys. So
you're not wrong on that end, Allison.
But it's I think that's a testament to why this corruption team has been able to hold on to this longevity together, because even with how long Mike's been in it, he's done his best to evolve as well with how everything's been going. So, you don't defend an Inner Geekdom title, without evolving with what's going on. You don't stay as a team for 4 seasons without evolving with what's going on, because I don't know about you, Chance, but if, like, I was in there trying to go with the flow and like figure it out, and Mike was like, well, no, we'll just keep doing it this way. I'd be like, all right, bro, I'm going to go then and go find this somewhere else if you're not going to work with me. And I think you can really see that with how you guys compete.
Yeah, I mean, that's evolution is key in this game, especially when you're in it for multiple seasons where you have rule change, format change. Like, Mike was in it when they had the old singles formats and the old teams format. So he's really had to go through all the changes. I think he's adaptable, which is a thing that I preach to a lot of, like, new players. Like, adaptability is the best trait you can have in this game. Once you have that, and you have that, you can harness it, you'll be unstoppable. It takes work, but you'll be unstoppable once you can do that. And I think that our greatest strength of the team is that we've been able to evolve. We've been able to change with the game, where other teams will die with the past. We keep moving on.
Absolutely. And speaking of kind of with moving on and evolving, and how you help with working with some of the newer players, Kelly W sent me a message to ask you a quick question. I think it's a really good one too. Because of your vet status, you didn't really get a chance to play a rookie this season. I mean, other than Marisol, but that was more of a title shot, not necessarily playing her, it's kind of evolved at that point, but you didn't really get a chance to play any real rookies this season. If you could go back, if it was possible, what rookie who debuted would you actually like to play in upcoming seasons?
So, like, rookie debut this year?
Yeah. So, like, any of the rookies that debuted this year, you didn't get to play. Who would you like? Who would you like to most go up against next season?
Oh, there's a lot. Griffin Newman's one that I would love to take on. Paige, I would love to take Paige on in a match. So many. Jacoby, because I've known Jacoby for a little bit. I think Jacoby's a good dude. Let's take him on in a match. Yeah, I think that's it as far as rookies that I can think of. There's somebody. Oh, Radis. I would love to go through on the
There you go.
Radis.
I stand Griffin Newman, so I would love to see an Ellison Newman matchup for sure in upcoming seasons, because I keep telling everyone, people keep sleeping on Griffey Dooms with like how good and how smart he is on things, but he's given a lot of people a good run for his money. I think you could probably give him a run for his money too. That'd be fun to watch.
All goes down to proving them wrong.
Yeah.
I've also been a fan of the guy for a long time. Like I watched every episode of The Tick. I listened to Blank Check. So I actually talked to him. I talked to him about it when I was in New York. And yeah, I'm like, he's a really cool dude, and I would love to take him on one day.
That would be so fun. Another question. Oh, sorry. It's another question in the chat coming from Daniel. What's it like to be one of two competitors to actually play for 3 belts in a season?
It's interesting that I was able to do that, and like the fact that the club is so small. Like I think it's just me and Rachel Cushing,
and Mike as well.
Yeah, no, it's not. He didn't play.
Oh no, he didn't play for singles belt. Sorry, that's 3 divisions. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So she was someone who I looked at when I was coming up, and was like, she can do that. This is like the kind of player that I want. Her and Mike, that's the kind of player I want to be. When I realized that I can be a contender, and I'd be like an IG, I'm like, this is what I want to do. And it was just getting that, like singles I never had a shot in, and that's the one I'd always wanted. So yeah, I think it's really nice because I feel like I'm part of like super exclusive club that's very hard to get to, and I think that very few players actually get to in their real life. So even if that expands to like 10 people, I was still the second ever to do it. So, and I'll always be the youngest to do it. So that's also really nice.
Definitely hold that accolade. That's for sure. I just saw like this nice little thing Daniel had also brought up in the chat. When you mentioned that you would love to have played Radis, he just says that Radis is 3-0 and you came off a title shot. So it would be very interesting by chance you're both scheduled to play in the #1 contenders match next season.
Maybe it happened. Maybe it doesn't. I'm not in charge of scheduling, but it's logistically that would make sense.
He's using Mount Schmoedown to call him out right now. That'll be in the promo next season.
Yeah. As if someone's gonna send this to Christian.
You're right.
No.
Okay.
I was gonna say there was this little stats fact I was gonna bring up regarding like you and Mike as a team. Regarding like the legacy that you guys have definitely etched yourself in as one of the greatest teams. I mean, you're one of the few teams not only to stay together, but also the few teams to have played for the team's championship multiple times, to have won them multiple times, and also, I mean, like looking at your records, I mean, best matches have fallen into like sudden death. Like always, every round 3 match has always been a nail biter. Honestly, I lose track how many #1 contenders matches you guys have played in. Obviously, as a team, like 3 or 4 so far. So it does show that you guys have definitely etched yourselves in as a team. But even then, like going back and forth between your teams and singles season, you also show great improvement, like winning your first match against Janine at that New York live event, and then just seeing the train you were going on. Your match against Paul Yama to play for Collision was also another opportunity where I saw, damn, that was one I bought on because someone who has watched Fan League matches, this felt like a big dream match for many of us who were like, yes, some fan leaguers are going to like main event, or they're going to be like going against Dan Murrell for the opportunity. And not just like getting your thoughts, just like at that, at least now that you're looking back at this, that match you and Paul played up against each other. Paul, fresh rookie season, coming in hot. You had yourself like a nice 2 or 3 game winning streak going on in. So knowing the fact that it was going to be a fan leaguer going up against Dan Murrell that season, just like your feelings on that.
It was definitely nice of the two of us because like I'd known Paul for years before the Schmoedown. He's one of the best friends, and it was nice to get to mix up with him in a way we never got to in the family. We never got to play each other. So this is big personally for both of us, and yeah, the fact that we're going to get to go up against Dan for possibly get a shot to go up against Dan for the belt, I think that was an extra bonus too. But I knew what I was going into. I know the kind of player he is. I know what kind of skill he brings to his matches, and much like with Ethan, I felt ready for it. I felt I could take him out. Things didn't go my way that day, but it didn't discourage me, and I would love to take him on again.
I'd watch it.
You did take him on again, playing in Inner Geekdom with each other.
Mhm.
It did.
Now that
That's
season, definitely. I mean, people already saw you as a dangerous competitor. I mean, that season last year, where you pretty much cleared that whole, you ran the table in the Inner Geekdom tournament, just proving to everybody that, yeah, you can play in 3 divisions, and you can not only hang in Inner Geekdom, but you can go straight and challenge for the title opportunity. I mean, man, like the feelings that you had, because the whole thing took place like during the middle of the year. So once that tournament was over, like, how did it feel knowing that you were going to play in Spectacular? Regardless, no matter what, you had a guaranteed slot at Spectacular that year.
And
it was really nice
to get there. That's also
yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It was really nice, just considering I never got to be a part of any major events. Like, I missed out on both Spectaculars, I missed out on Collision, so I never got a chance to be part of a major block like that. So to be part of MD Spectacular end of the year, it was really exciting, and it was in a division that this is my first real season competing in it. So that was great as well, and it was a really wonderful experience to be able to go to that tournament and be able to be in my first Spectacular.
That's so cool. So how did it come about that you went from, so you came in with singles and teams? So what decision was made where you decided, well, why not? Let's just jump on into Inner Geekdom and see how it goes.
So I think I was coming out one weekend for a match, and they were doing one of those 4-ways, and Christian pitched to me. He was like, "Hey, dude, I know it was about this 4-way. You want to jump in?" I'm like, I looked at the lineup and just like, yeah, I could do this, and I almost did it.
Yeah.
That was literally that was me on 3 days of prep, getting ready for that match.
Wow.
And so
much for Bateman's 60 days, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got to take like Wednesday or Tuesday to get ready for that match. And it's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. Let's why not? I didn't come out, but I think that encouraged me to try Inner Geekdom again in the future. It's just a matter of when I did get a match. Then when I came under Shannon, and Mike didn't want to get into IG right away, and this is when we're still doing studio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She came to me and she's just like, "Hey, would you want to take some low level IG matches, just to set some points, because we didn't have another geek player on the roster at the time, or we still didn't have him after me, but yeah, we didn't have any other geek players. We need extra points." It was like, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'll take a few matches, because at the time I felt like with little to no prep, I could, or with minimal effort, I'm not saying no effort, but like minimal efforts, I could have taken on like any low to mid tier geek player. But that's just what I felt about myself. Then the shutdown happened. Then there's this whole tournament. We need another entry. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll do it. And like, it's for points, so I'm gonna put my best foot forward. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna work. And then I went to work, and it was really crazy. It's going through and just beating people who I've known and respected for a long time, like Robert Parker is someone I've known, again, someone I've also known for years. I know how much geek play means to Robert, and able to get in and just beat him in a tournament. I'm like, that was one of the most gratifying matches I've ever played. And then getting to play Mike in the finals was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think that it was something that I felt like I can do, even at the back of my mind thinking at the time. But when I got him, it's like, oh no, I can be really good at this if I put the same effort in as do everything else. So that's really how it's really how me and Inner Geekdom came about.
That's awesome. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then just run the fucking gambit on him. You're just like, it's like a bull shark. It's like, I'll play for some money. It's fine. And then just crushing people left and right.
And look at the road he had there. Like you mentioned, Robert Parker. I mean, he played Paul Yama first round, and then he played Barbarian in the semifinals on his side of the bracket. I mean, one thing's to show, out of all the Inner Geekdom competitors at that time, it looked on your side of the table, you definitely had one of the more hardest runs, because Paul Yama, lost the championship last year, and then he's playing singles. And at that same year, he's doing an amazing run with Final Exam. So a lot of eyes were on him. People put you as the underdog. You beat him. Robert Parker, as you mentioned, early second round draft pick, seen as like the new golden boy, or to come across Inner Geekdom, had dominating.
Which I was one of the ones touting him as the next golden boy.
Yeah, and well earned. I've seen Robert's matches. Yeah, he is definitely someone not to be underestimated. But then questions fell your way. Like Robert Parker was getting nothing but getting some '90s comic book movie questions which were kind of like unfortunately, when it comes with the trench run like in Star Wars, he just wasn't hitting the target, and you were able to capitalize on your questions. You beat him, pulling out pretty much everyone was calling one of the biggest upsets of that season. And you move on to Barbarian, and not to overlook Barbarian either, him playing in 2 different divisions. It's his debut of singles at Inner Geekdom. And you beat him, and then gets that great match between you and Mike. You win on a Middle Earth question about Buckleberry Bridge or Brandywine Bridge.
Brandywine Bridge.
I confuse those two a lot. Yeah. But winning on a Middle Earth question for your 5-pointer, like really showing like every match, I will say that you out of them, a lot of people were putting you as the underdog, and nothing against your opponents there, but it was just like literally the biggest Cinderella story of the Inner Geekdom tournament.
And it was funny that I literally a few weeks before that, Ace did his whole thing in Star Wars. And I felt like that was the year of the underdog because I did the exact same thing a few weeks later for the Geek tournament. I was someone who people weren't looking at, people weren't talking about. I just came in and I unexpectedly ran the whole thing, especially facing down some people who are just powerhouses in this division. And just being able to go toe to toe with them was it was an incredible experience for me.
Oh, I bet that had to be so cool. I mean, and kind of going with that is at Disney Marvel fan on Twitter wanted to know, since we're talking about matches, what would you say is your favorite match that you've ever played in? You could do for each division or just your favorite all together.
I think my favorite match that I've played is probably okay. I'll give you actually. I'll go every division. So Inner Geekdom is definitely Mike, just because that was one where we got to cut loose a little bit. We got to have fun. We got to come in. We got to it had this whole vacation gimmick, and it was great. And it basically just felt like we were just pulling like a giant troll on the audience because you could beat us, so we get to do this, rub it in all your faces. So yeah, that was a good time. Teams, it was probably the first time I played the Shire Wolves match. That was really great. And singles, even though I don't think it's my best played match, I think that playing Janine in New York, because again, I don't think it's my best work as a singles competitor, but getting to be in the first out of LA live event and opening the season and winning in front of that crowd, I think that it's a feeling that I rarely get when I win, because like it felt grand, even though it was just like an ether pole position match. It felt grander than that, just because of the environment, the crowd, and like it was a really great experience to be able to go in New York and do that. So
I will say,
that's what I'd say.
The crowd, that New York crowd made it feel like it was a double main event. Honestly,
it did.
I forget who is the undercard on that one.
It was us. They
were the undercard to Irwin versus Merle.
That's right.
Yeah, but even though on paper it said undercard, the fact that the New York crowd were so big on you and Janine, it really did feel like a double main event, especially the fact that it was a big nail biter going into that last round. You and Janine going back and forth, trading those 2 and 3 pointers, and being able to pull off that victory, and even seeing the crowd just loving it, seeing how much they were invested into that match, really does make it look like, especially on rewatching, one of the things I love to do is see how invested with these live events, how the crowd was into it, making it go, yeah, that does not feel like an undercard now. That's a co-main event.
Yeah. And then getting to go back to New York for the first live event back from all of this stuff, which was so like when I tell you guys, it was wild to be in, especially as someone who's never done a live match before, and now you're headlining, and it's the first one back. Like it was just, it was amazing. I can't give you guys enough credit for how incredible that whole event was, and watching you and Marisol, now we're with the Corruption Invitational, and just it was just so cool. And you played great. I mean, it may not have gone in the way we wanted, but it was such a good fucking match. Like, I mean, it was such a good match. So
Here's a question from Taco. Will you ever drop the sunglasses and make a face tune?
Sorry, what?
Will you ever drop the shades to turn face?
Would I ever? I mean, never say never. It's not something I would bring about myself, but if the Schmoedown forces push me that way, like I'm not gonna fight it. We'll see. We'll see if it happens, but I think I'm pretty comfortable where I am right now. Thank you.
I also want to go back into the chat as well. Ryan had dropped this fun little question there regarding, Roca, his last match at Spectacular. Of course, his question would be, who would you like to see him go up against? Although technically, since you don't have a dance partner for Spectacular, I would like to add on to Ryan's question, like maybe you could be the one to face Roca in his last match.
I mean, he's on my list, and if he retires, I'll never get to beat him. So, which would suck. So I would of course say myself. But if I'm taking myself out of the equation, I think that there are two, in my mind, there are two really good contenders for that thought. One is the obvious Dan Murrell, because I mean the Roca and Dan rivalry was one of the first big one, but not as big as the original rivalry, which was Roca Mance. I don't know if Mance would be available. I don't know if he'd do it, but I think it'd be really cool if Roca started his singles career with Mance and got to end it with Mance.
You have no idea how a couple of us in the Schmoes chat, like myself, Taco, and Soda, and Ben, have said we would love to see a Roca Mance 3 at Spectacular to close it out. That's one of the things that we were sad that was missed on in season 7 when Mance was brought in. Opportunity for a Roca Mance 3, and yeah, if Mance is, I would love to see that. We've also thrown out Dan Murrell. We've also thrown out maybe have Roca versus Riley again, because also that 3-way between those three at Collision was, I definitely
maybe, yeah. I think it's got to be someone who's had a lot of personal investment with her and a lot of history with, and I think that either of those guys would be great. But again, I pick me for personal reasons because he's on my list of players I want to beat, and if he retires, I can't beat him. So
just keep manifesting. That's all you got to do. You just have to keep manifesting and put it out there. Like you got Ariana Grande manifesting about being in Wicked, and now she's playing Glinda in the movie. So if you just keep putting it out there,
keep putting it out there, it'll happen at some point.
Keep putting it out there. It has to happen. It has to happen.
It would be fun. Welcome to Matt Notes.
Oh, bring Nose back. That'd have been great.
Oh yeah, the top.
That would be fun. That is fun.
It's awesome. So I just want to do a quick little shift away from Schmoedown with some of the other stuff that you do outside Chance. I've been catching up and listening to your podcast, Notorious by Chance. So really good. I love the format. I actually just listened today because to the episode where you guys talked about Arrival, because I actually just watched that movie for the first time last week, and it wrecked me. To be fair, prior to watching that, the night before the day before, I had watched The Rocketeer because I hadn't seen it in forever and needed to listen to James Horner's score. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll go ahead and watch Warrior for the first time because everyone keeps telling me about that. Sobbed through that. And my husband comes home and he goes, let's watch Parasite. And I said, okay, I've never seen that. And then I wake up the next day and I'm like, let me watch Arrival because this is what he's been telling me to watch again. So it was a really heavy 24 hours by the time I got into Arrival. that movie just wrecked me. But I loved hearing what you guys had to say about it. I actually learned a few things from it as well because I was too busy sobbing to realize what was going on at the end of it, with the language being what helps with telling time. But you're doing a great job with that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, no, me and Buddy Russell have been doing that show for about 3-ish years at this point. And yeah, like we just love we love hanging out. We love talking about movies and trailers and news and sports and stuff. And this is a show that enables us to do that. And we come in, we talk, we just figure out what we want to talk about, and that's what we do. And our last one was on. I think as of right now, our last one was on Friday the 13th, the 2009 version, which is a slog to get through. But the next one we're doing is going to be on Romero's Night of the Living Dead, so that's going to be another really interesting one to talk about. But yeah, no, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love it. I always love seeing what everyone else is doing outside of Schmoedown as well.
Yeah, we actually we've had a couple of guest spots on there. Like Dan's been on, Winston's been on a few times. I've had Mike. I've had the bulk of Corruption on. I've had Mike. I had Laura and Damon talk about Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. So yeah, I mean, it's been doing that show has been a really, really fun time for me.
Oh That's my awesome. God! This comment from Leo just popped up in the chat. Where Ellison, when you brought up the Rocketeer, his question is, what do you think of Moose Haas handing you the Paul Sorvino picture from that movie?
I don't know what happened to it because I had it. I treat it like a desk. I had it like on my. I just had it like right there, like just like what I own it. I own the fact I don't like Rocketeer very much. I think it's fine. I don't think it's like this amazing match because everyone makes it out to be. But yeah, I would have missed that one. I'm like, I knew to catch it for it, and here it is. And I lost the picture. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh no!
I would have kept it. I would have kept it. Would have brought it home, but I couldn't find it after the match.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Very cool. So, really, kind of, I guess, pivoting back into Schmoedown now that you've been able to sit and take a breather after the title match and not being, you've been kind of watching everything. What are your predictions for the singles tournament, and who do you think is going to spectacular against Marisol?
Griffin looks unstoppable right now. I think that would be interesting. I think her versus Janine, though unlikely, would be a fun match for the title. She could beat Dan Murrell. Her versus Dan Murrell. I think her versus Dan Murrell would be interesting because, and I'm not by projecting this out there, but I think it'd be funny if Ethan beats Dan for the title, Marisol beats Ethan for the title, and then Dan comes back and beats Marisol, like a weird circle like that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be funny. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think that'd be funny. Not that I'm putting that out there, Marisol. But don't say nothing. But
and Marisol's question in the chat. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. My pick to win the holding is Griffin.
Yes, that's what I literally have. I not been saying that in these chats and comments. That's what people are literally arguing me about it. Like they don't understand. I'm like, you guys don't like. Why does no one listen to Blank Check then? Like, I feel like no one understands. Like, until you go and listen to this podcast, like, know what this guy is about. Like, it's wild.
I think it just falls down to like people just I don't know. Maybe some people think maybe more people are banking on Griffin to lose a match than wanting to see him succeed or so. Or maybe it's like maybe the way Griffin portrays himself on screen, kind of like how when Paul Preston started with his character, it kind of rubbed some people the wrong way to where they're like, I don't see this guy as a threat, and you're like, really?
You know what it might be, and this might not be fair. I think it's a manager. I think it's Vince not.
Really?
I think
Dagnino?
I think that, yeah. I think it's Dagnino. I think that plays into that. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's possible.
That makes sense.
Original Dagnino.
Yeah.
He's a fun one. Another question that we got as we're like kind of getting to the end of everything here, that Shug asked me to ask last night on their stream. He wants to see if we can get a hot take over here at Mount Schmoedown.
Oh boy.
You planning on staying with Corruption next season or what?
I can say that. Look, I'll say this. I have not renewed my contract with Corruption as of yet.
Okay.
My contract extension is not finalized as of yet. I would like to return, but again, if they don't offer me, they don't extend me. There's no choice. They're moving on, and I go on to somewhere else. I would like to see Corruption, but again, I'm getting guarantees at this point.
Yeah. Let's say if you did have to go into some sort of free agency, is there somewhere that you would like to end up outside of that? You can
Somewhere
or
like the sun.
What?
Somewhere I'd like the sun.
Yeah.
Instead of okay, if corruption for whatever reason decided to drop me, I think that my likely landing point and most of this is because I slept on this dude's floor once. I think I would sign to the dungeon.
Okay.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Big, like that would be a big steal on like Kaiser's part, because it's like when he showed this season, he was able to get Ben and Dan on his team, and at this point, if in the what if multiverse you don't get picked up by corruption, you'd probably be one of the biggest hottest. You would be one of the biggest commodities for any manager to want you on their team. If not, you would be, and by some weird like unforeseen circumstances, you don't get picked up by a manager, you'll be one of the biggest free agents going in next season, knowing the fact that you're not aligned, you don't need to be loyal to any team. It's just you by yourself, and you can almost like blaze through the competition to where managers are going to smack themselves in the head like, why did we not get shit?
I can say this: there are a lot of rosters out there that need an injection of some superstar talent. Here's your superstar talent.
Big.
So,
you heard it.
A lot
first,
of rosters
folks.
need a superstar. If the Cubs decide to drop me, I'm available.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see. It's been one of the things that I've learned from being a part of this and being, even just being a baby of digital and just the people that I've gotten to meet. I think the best competitors that there are that are in this, regardless of heels face, are people that you can tell are genuinely having fun and genuinely want to be a part of it and want to kind of not just winning belts is amazing and everyone wants the belt. But I think you are one of those people, Chance, that just is, you can tell is having a good time and is loving every minute of this and this ride that you're on with it. And, you're just going to keep rising and keep just kicking ass. And I think that's one of another reason why you're, so beloved amongst this community.
Yeah, I think that win or lose, I love this game. I love playing this game, and if I love to compete, and this gives me a chance to get all that competitive drive, all that out of me, and and that comes with a lot of winning. I love to win as well, so yeah, I mean, like fun and competition and winning are not all they're not all unexclusive. Like you can do all three. But there are competitors who come in to have fun. There are competitors who come in to win, and I come in to win. But I have fun doing that. Like it's not anything like I would never say this is a slog on my part. Like I always have a great time doing this, and I just happen to be competing at a high level, and I come in and win belts.
Yeah, it was really fun leading up to the live event, watching your back and forth on Twitter with Marisol and then with Shannon. That was another quick question I had. How did you feel about Shannon doing I know there was a lot of people were mixed on her managing both of you guys in New York.
We talked a lot about that behind the scenes, and that was the only option that we could have taken at the time. But I think Shannon, she's a great manager, and I think that she did what she did. She came in, she didn't show any bias to either side, at least not from what I saw on my end. So no, yeah, I think she handled it as well as she could. I can't remember where I saw it first, but I think it would have been fun if she did if we were allowed to do the whole, Mike manages me, Ad manages Marisol, and Shannon just sits back and watch.
Yeah. That would have been just sit back, just bring in a throne on stage, just have her sit on it with her beautiful crown and just kind of watch amongst her core four, the big,
she's pretty much
stars of corruption.
She's the Shao Kahn, just sitting on the throne, like watching her fighters just go at it with each other.
Yeah. I mean, I would say she's up there for manager of the year for sure. With how you guys have done.
She should be the front runner right now.
I mean, she's definitely one of the strongest front runner because just like last season and this season, once again, corruption as a factor starts off in last place. But just like last season, you guys chip away at all the other factions. You win, you earn points to where now you're definitely in the top running. Now all that's determined is just what are the other factions going to do? Are they going to be able to catch up to corruption, or is it going to be the first year, or is it going to be corruption for the second time in the year be faction will not only win faction of the year, but they'll win the faction championship? like a lot. The spotlight is definitely shining on corruption here, and there's definitely a mixture of fans out there in the community that want to see corruption succeed again because even on the YouTube channel, they did a good quick clips the quick clips channel. They did a whole dedication on the rise of corruption, pretty much treating it like in a way like a documentary, just showing the clips of it building from Mike turning his back, going heel, picking you, having Ken on the team, then bringing in Grace, and then you like the whole formation of corruption as a faction before season 7 to corruption as a faction now. Like the fact that you were able to participate and be involved in this storyline and actually play a foundation in this is like one. I'll admit it's like something I would see almost any competitor wanting to be a part of. The fact that you really do have like a huge. I did say you have a lot of historic moments, but you really have cut yourself your own corner in the movie Trivia Schmoedown's history and the whole story.
I think you talked about when Mike and I evolved as a team. I think corruption as a faction has evolved because, they started off as, an uprising, then became an entity, then it became a faction, then a team, then a dynasty. With just us, like we have an identity. We have our own style. Like there's not really a faction quite like it that's lasted. I feel like the faction been around as long as Mike and I have, and have gone through so many iterations and so many different phases of the game to the point where, we are a massive part of the history of this league now, and it's really great to be a part of it.
That has to be that has to be probably one of the coolest feelings, knowing that you get brought in from Fan League, the first ever to like all these firsts are on your roster, right? First Fan League edition, second to compete for 3 belts in a single year. Like your resume is just stacked. So yeah. I can't wait to see what you do in season 9.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ben, as we're wrapping up, Ben, you have any other questions? Do you have any question you want to ask?
I have one question. What would have to happen for you to go after that 4th belt, the Star Wars belt?
The stars, yeah. For that to happen, I would have to take like 2 weeks, just pound Star Wars nonstop. Really get into it, and because the thing is, I would like to try Star Wars at some point, and like Mike and I would talk about this. I think it'd be really fun. It's like say I did branch out. I think it'd be really fun to put us against each other in a Star Wars match. See who's the first to, because someone's got to win that one. See who's the first to win in all 4 divisions. Because that's something I would like to be the first to do. Because no one's ever done it. People competed in all 4. No one's ever won a match in all 4. So I think that.
Add that to your resume.
I would love to give it a shot. That's not something I'm leaping at currently because tower competition is stiff. But I would eventually like to give it a shot.
At least, play 1 match at least just to test.
I don't know if I could take on Tommy for the belt, but I think that I can go on, and I think I can win at least 1 match.
Yeah.
Talk about someone who's just happy to be here. Thomas Harper in New York City, walking around with that Star Wars belt, was like a kid in a candy shop all night long. I love to see it. It was great. We got a great picture when I was there. It was so much fun. But I'd love to see it just pop into a Star Wars match because fuck it, why not? You've already got Inner Geekdom under your belt. It's just another notch to throw in there. Why not? My last question, besides, how you said Broka's on your list, what would your dream match be? Like what competitor across the entire zeitgeist of Schmoedown that you would like to see yourself go up against?
There's so many people on my list, some that I've said publicly, some that I want to hold myself for a little bit, but looking as soon as I lost, I thought about like who do I want to play next? Who do I want to come out against next season? I feel bad targeting this man because he just got his back fixed. But I would really love to come in and be Bateman 1-on-1. because if he thinks getting beat by a rookie is embarrassing, how about you lose to a guy who you've been kind of adjacent insulting by calling out his team. How bad would it look to lose to someone you've been calling out since he started? So I know Bateman's scared of me. I know he is. I think the records match up. So I would love to take on Bateman first off the bat next season.
Oh, I'd watch that for sure. As the whole reason I got into Schmoedown was all the Bateman stuff too, with the team action and everything. I think it'd be a great match. That'd be one for the books for sure. So don't feel bad calling him out. Call him out. It's fine. It's fine. He's a dick in this anyway, so he'll be fine.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Christian, if it worked best in Christian's favor, the stars on the line, I'm pretty sure he would love to set that up, especially with everything going back in the studio. I know his love of storylines, just throwing out that little bait just for everyone to be clamoring for a Bateman and Chance match. I know Christian will do that.
I don't know who I'm getting next season, but whoever it is, I'm going for blood. So I'm ready.
As you should. Awesome. Well, Chance, do you have anything you want to plug at this time? Tell everybody about?
Yeah, just to talk about Chance, our podcast, like I said, Friday 13th out. Night of the Living Dead will be out before the end of the weekend. And after that, we're looking at movie celebrating. We're going back to our anniversary series, which we do all year round. Next, we'll be doing movies celebrating their 40th anniversary, movies from 1981. Got a great lineup. Don't know what we're looking at yet. It's going to be a fun time. And it's where our podcasts are found. It's always by Chance. And that's it.
Awesome. How about you, Ryan?
Well, of course, everyone can definitely find me here Saturdays on Mount Schmoedown with Ellison, with John, with Ben, as we really like to talk with competitors, or we like to do our own little breakdown and discussions of the careers of so many players past and present in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. Also on Sundays with Ben as the Sunday crew, we review and talk about the pretty much the matches that we've got from Schmoedown as well, because tomorrow Ben and I are going to have a mouthful on our hands. And also, if anyone watching this or checking the rewatch, if you're fans of wrestling, I do have a wrestling podcast I co-host with the sinister James Shimo of the FCL. It's called Wrestling Ramblings and Rages Podcast. We're going to have some new episodes coming out around next week, so be on the lookout for those.
Awesome. Ben?
You guys can find me right here on this channel. I'm on basically every day. Thursdays on Shooting the Breeze, we're about this not rewatch review on the Spider-Man movies. That's going to be fun. On Saturdays, right here on Mount Schmoedown at Gets Ready and Recapping the Past. So will me and my co-host Matt sort of talk about favorite, one of our favorite shows right now. We're talking about Doctor Who at 50 Shades of Geek and the TV of Mount Schmoedown, Schmoes of the North, I mean, and I think that's it. Yes. How about you, Ellison?
So you can find me here with these gentlemen and John on Saturdays with Mount Schmoedown. You can find me on Twitter at Allison Salamoni. I just did an episode of For Chris's Sake with Chris Anthony Lopez. So check that out. That came out on Thursday. We did a real deep dive into Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, the James Gunn written Gosnell classic.
How is
that? This entire time, and I finally got it. I'm so excited.
Yeah. That movie's a
so that's out now under where you can wherever you get podcasts. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter, and we'll be back next week.
Yep. Have a good one for you next week. We'll reveal it in days. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
a great day.